Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Forex with a free US dollar index Elliott Wave analysis for you after the New York trading session has ended for the 17th of August. And New York's been closed now, about 7 hours or so. I'm going to start with a really quick look at an historical chart just to give you the big picture. I see this is going back to mid-2007. We had a 3 waves down for a cycle degree B. And then we're working on a cycle degree wave C to the upside from this point down here. This is going to subdivide into a 5-wave structure, and so far it's looking most like an impulse, which is the easiest to analyse and the simplest to trade. We've got a 1, an expanded flat for 2, working on 3 at primary degree to the upside. Within this 3rd wave at primary degree, we've had a 1, 2, and now we're working on the very early stages of a 3rd wave at intermediate degree within a 3rd wave at primary degree within a C wave. So we're going to see some pretty explosive upwards movement for the dollar in coming weeks. This 3rd wave at intermediate degree likely to last a couple of months. A target to the upside for the end of this 3rd wave at primary degree in its entirety may lie about 120.59. That's where it will reach 2.618. The length of this wave 1, and the whole of this cycle degree C wave in a few years may take the dollar all the way up to about 141.08, but that's a long-term target. It's quite a long way away from that one yet. Taking you now to my 1-year daily chart, where this maroon 2 down here would be here if I put it. I keep forgetting to put that one down there anyway. This is the same point. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up for an intermediate 1 and an ABC zigzag down for intermediate 2, working on an intermediate 3rd wave to the upside now. Some pretty nice relationships, Fibonacci relationships within this 1st wave at intermediate degree. Wave 3 blue is just 1.28 longer than 1.618, the length of this wave 1, and wave 5 blue or minor is just 0.48 short of 1.618, the length of this 3rd wave. So there's some fairly adequate Fibonacci relationships between those waves there. Within this 3rd wave at blue or minor degree, I'm really happy with this labelling here. The 1, 2, and within 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within this 3, we can see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It subdivides into a nice impulse here, the middle of this 3rd wave. Quite a large 4th wave correction at minute degree here, much bigger than the 2nd wave. That's okay. They don't have to be of the same size or duration. Could be one example of alternation there, with a short little 5th wave to end. A nice ABC zigzag for wave 4. 2nd wave also an ABC zigzag. We're not seeing that guideline of alternation here. That's okay. It's a guideline. It's not a rule. It doesn't have to be met. It's just what is normally most likely to happen. It doesn't mean that we have to see it. Thereafter, within this 5th wave, I like this labelling here, 1, 2, and then within 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't like trying to change this to any other alternate. I think that this is the correct labelling for this piece of movement here. Then a 4th wave, and finally this piece of movement, a 5th wave. It is very easy to see this piece of movement as a 5-wave structure with a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a short little 5th wave at the end. And that's fine when you look at this piece of movement on a 15-minute chart. That's really easy to see that breakdown. Thereafter, this ABC correction pretty nicely contained in a trend channel. This is Elliott's technique, a trend line from the start of A to the end of B and a parallel copy placed on the end of A. A little overshoot here and a bit of an overshoot as we end it. So an overshoot in the middle of the 3rd wave and an overshoot to end the 5th wave. That's okay. It doesn't have to conform to the trend channel perfectly. What is important about this little channel though is we've got a very obvious breach to the upside. It's really, really clear that our overall downwards trend has ended and we're in an upwards trend, and the major trend for the dollar for the next couple of years or more is going to be up. So the trading opportunities are to the upside. Taking you now to the hourly chart, where this pink one is this pink one up here, and here's the end of that intermediate wave 2, and here's our trend change to the upside with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, beautifully contained in a trend channel drawn using Elliott's technique, a trend line from 1 to 3 and a parallel copy on 2. A little bit of an overthrow in the 4th wave position, the 5th wave coming to end just short of midway of the trend channel, We could have reasonably expected it was likely to see a fifth wave overthrow to end this. That again is a guideline, not a rule, so it's what to look out for and most likely to expect. It's not what must happen. Thereafter, we're in a correction to the downside for a second wave with an A. B may have ended here, or we may be seeing a triangle unfold. We'll see how this structure evolves. I'm fairly happy with this 5-wave structure down for A with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I look at this piece of movement on a 15-minute chart, I can see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or more likely a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can subdivide into an impulse. It's not the best though, and it does have more of a 3-wave look than a 5-wave look. I may change the labelling on this chart just around here, but suffice to say I'm pretty sure that the second wave correction is not over yet, and it's got further down to go. If my labelling just here and here, and like I said, this is open to interpretation, and I may change this piece of labelling here in the next couple of days. If it is correct, I've got a target to the downside for the second wave correction to end about 81.42. Within this wave A green, we've got wave 1, 3 and 5 are really, really close to equality, with this third wave 0.1 longer than this fifth wave, and it's the longest as well. So this labelling does meet all of the rules. I'm just a little bit suspect about how this third wave subdivides into an impulse. It's possible to see it, it just seems to be a little bit elastic. I'm going to have another look at this alternate thanks to Joe, Elliott Trader on YouTube. It's possible also to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see intermediate 1 ending here followed by an expanded flat ABC for an intermediate second wave. This is all fine, but remember my breakdown on my daily chart of my main wave count. When I look at this piece of 3 blue ended here, I'm much happier with the subdivisions within it. This one seems to be a little bit flexible in squishing this minute 3 and 4 and 5 into such a small space up here. But most importantly, this little piece here, the end of this fourth wave, which is a rare running flat correction, B reaches beyond the start of A, so it's a flat correction. It's either an expanded or a running, but C fails to travel past the end of A, therefore this is a rare running flat correction. These should only occur when the overall trend and momentum is especially strong. You could certainly say that the overall trend and momentum around about this time was very, very strong indeed, so that's entirely possible. I only have a slight problem with it. In this instance, I would rather look for a wave count that did not have a running flat than one that did. But anyway, having said all that, this little piece of movement here for wave C pink, I'm just going to take you over to Photoshop and have a look at this one a little bit more up close. When I look at this up close and I look at the figures here, we're just expanding and zooming in on this, you would want to label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That has the best look, that makes the most sense. Seeing the end of 1 somewhere in here is possible. We could look at this piece of movement on an hourly chart and see that, but this has the best look overall, but you can't do that because here's the end of 1 and here's 4 moving slightly into 1. So there's a little overlap there, so that won't work. So overall, the biggest problem I have with this wave count is seeing this as a 5-wave structure. I would much rather count this as a 5, as with my main wave count, than try and see this as a 5, as with this alternate here. So even though the ratios are slightly better, and it certainly does fit into a parallel trend channel here, drawn using Elliott's technique much, much better, I have a big problem with seeing this as a 5, and a slight problem with seeing this as a running flat, and a slight problem with the long extended C wave, which is a 4.236 multiple of this A wave, which is a Fibonacci multiple, but a very unusual one. That's okay, but those three things in conjunction just make me a little bit wary of that wave count. So I think I'll stick with my main one. They are both reasonably valid. I'll check out that C wave within that fourth wave in a little bit more detail to see how it could subdivide. That's all for me with your US dollar index analysis. And I hope everyone's having a really fabulous day.